Hello. Let me just, was it loud? I hope it wasn't. It's... I hate how volume works in these things. I did everything I could to keep the volume, like, not scary, because... obvious reasons. Oh, thank God. Okay. Still, I apologize for the jump scare. Welcome, everyone, to me reading this game. Again, let me know if the audio is good or bad. Because I think I have it set to like really good levels, but it's really hard to assess like what it sounds like for you guys compared to how it sounds for me. But I can adjust things if needed. So we'll see. Well, yeah, so this is a game, or a series of games rather, that's been out since, I don't know, like 2006? Something along those lines. It's old. And this is one of my favorite series of stories, because they're not really games. There's no gameplay. It's one of my favorite series. I started following this series when episode 2 had just come out, and there's 8 total. And basically I'm a big old nerd for the whole franchise. So I'm very jazzed to be playing this again. For obvious reasons. Let's see. So normally, I say normally, but when the game came out, the art was, I won't say bad, because I like it, but it's really specific. And the backgrounds are all photos and stuff, and as you can see, this is pretty slick looking. Because I applied a patch that uses the graphics from the PlayStation 3 version of the games. So everything's gonna look new to me. And if any of you have played this series before, it's gonna look new to you as well, I imagine. But yeah, there's like 3 versions of the games. It's kind of ridiculous. But you know, we're just gonna start soonish. Some disclaimers. This is a murder mystery series. There's probably not today, because the intro is it takes a while, but there's gonna be some gore. There's some very yeah, there's pretty explicit child abuse in this entire series. So if that's not your thing, you know, look after yourself and go do something else if you need to. And yeah, just be aware of that. And there's going to be descriptions of dead bodies and wounds and all that stuff, because again, murder mystery. It's also kind of a product of its time, so sometimes, you know, this is in the 80s, and it was made like almost 20 years ago at this point. So it's a little, there's some skeevy things here and there, but I think that covers all of it. Let's see. I should have made a list. Oh yeah, I'm not going to do voices. There are 18 characters to start with, and I'm not a voice actor, so no thank you. I will try to make it like obvious that this different people are talking, but yeah, no. Also, I might pronounce things weird or inconsistently, because I have like the whole anime in my brain, even though it sucks. And but when I'm reading, my brain reads it in English, so it clashes and it's weird. But yeah, that's it. Let's go. And again, I hope it's not too loud. Let me know if it is. But here we go. Also, thank you all for being here. I already know all this stuff. Whoops. That was me putting out my tea. Because this game needs tea. Again. So you still have to overcome your love of alcohol? The old physician let out a sigh as he removed the stethoscope. Two elderly men could be seen in the dimly lit study, which was filled with dust and a sickly sweet stench. In the corner of this room, which was much larger than what most people would call a study, was an expensive-looking bed, a man undergoing a medical examination, and the physician conducting it. There was also what appeared to be a servant, watching over the whole scene. The bottle is my friend. It is no less of a friend than you, and it has stood by my side even longer than you have. As the man bearing his chest for the stethoscope rearranged his clothes, he spoke unapologetically. Kinzo-san. Your body only appears to be well thanks to the effects of the medicine. However, if you continue to drink such strong spirits, the treatment will become meaningless. Trust my judgment. Refrain from drinking. I thank you, though only for the sentiment, my friend. Genji, another glass. Water it down slightly. That way, Nanjo could save face. Are you quite sure? After eyeing both the master who demanded the alcohol and the family doctor who forbade it, Genji, the old butler, silently gave a slight nod and carried out his master's orders faithfully. The family doctor, Nanjo, let out a deep sigh once again as he watched the butler busy himself alongside the liquor cabinet. There was a smell filling up the room. This sweet, poisonous aroma felt as though it melted the heart, if not the soul itself. It was the smell of that venomous green drink that the man couldn't bear to part with. Nanjo, you are my close friend, and we have known each other for quite a long time. I am deeply grateful for all that you have done to keep me alive this long. I have done nothing. After all, you never listened to my advice as your physician. And you never listen when I warn you about a mistaken chess move you're about to make. It seems only fair, does it not? Master. Thank you. I wouldn't die if I ran out of your medicine, but I would if I ran out of this. Disregarding Nanjo, who had his face set in a resigned expression, Kinzo took the glass that Genji was holding out to him. Very few people would associate that venomous color with an alcoholic beverage. Nanjo, be honest with me. How much time do I have left? Well now, how short must I make it to convince you to set the bottle aside? Nanjo once again let out a sigh of resignation. Then, he finally spoke to Kinzo as the latter swirled his glass. You don't have long. What precisely do you mean by that? Let us illustrate it with the chess game here. You have very nearly achieved checkmate, but you have not yet cornered my king. Nanjo's gaze was directed at a side table with a massive chess set placed on top of it. Judging by the positioning of the pieces, the game seemed to be entering its final stage. Black's rook and bishop were cutting deeply into enemy lines. White's king had already been castled and cornered, so that even an amateur could see that the match would reach its conclusion before too long. Every time Nanjo came to give a medical examination, both of them would make a few moves. Nanjo was hinting that Kinzo would most likely fall into his eternal sleep before this game could be concluded. These were less the words of a physician than they were the words of an old friend. Were you a normal patient, I would recommend that you write a will at this point. And what is a will, Nanjo? Handwritten instructions to the vultures on how to devour and scatter my corpse? No, not at all. As the word suggests, it is a way for you to record your will for later generations. It is far more than just a means to divide up your inheritance. Oh, and apart from the division of the inheritance, what might I write of? You might write of your regrets, or matters you have left unfinished. Things you want to pass down to others, or merely matters you wish to communicate. Anything you want. Things I want to pass down to others, or matters I wish to communicate? Ridiculous. I, Ushiromiya Kinzo, have not one thing I want to tell or leave behind. I was born with nothing. I will die with nothing. There is nothing I wish to leave my foolish children. Even if the end were to come today, even if it were to come right now, I would accept that fate of death without a trace of fear. I created everything. My fortune, my prestige, everything. Those were built up by me, and they will be lost along with me. There's nothing I wish to leave behind. Nothing. After I'm gone, I care not if it all goes to waste. I desire no tomb, no coffin. Those were the terms of the contract I made with the witch. When I die, everything will be lost. That has been part of the promise since the beginning, and that's why nothing will be left behind. There is nothing I can leave behind. After reaching a furious crescendo, Kinzo suddenly slumped over. His expression was limp and feeble, as though an evil spirit had possessed him and then left. However, I do have one regret. I have nothing to leave behind, but there's one thing I cannot leave undone. You would do well to write it down. Of course, it would be best if you could finish it before your time comes. However, even if the worst happens, those who come after you will carry it to completion. You must leave behind your regrets so that they can be resolved, even if you are unable to do so yourself. That is the purpose of a will. When Nanjo tried to gently pat Kinzo's shoulder, the dying man flew into a sudden rage and batted away Nanjo's hand. It is useless, useless, useless. It must be done while I still live. At the moment of my death, my soul will be devoured by the demons of the contract and wiped out of existence. For me, there will be no peace or another world after death. That's why everything must be completed before I go. That's why a will has no meaning for me. And even if I had a chance to write such a thing, if I did have such a chance, I'd want to see it. I'd want to see it one more time. I want to see Beatrice's smiling face one last time. Oh, Beatrice, why have you resisted me for so long? I'll return everything you have given me. I am prepared to lose everything, so please show me your smile just one more time. Beatrice, I beg of you, you must be able to hear my plea. That's the kind of woman you are. I beg of you, show yourself to me. You're here, aren't you? You're standing there, invisible, listening to every word I say, and even now you're mocking me from somewhere in this room, aren't you? Please, Appear before me once more and smile. Feel free to scold me, even snatch away my life by your own hands if you so desire. I don't want to die alone like this. I cannot let myself die until I've seen your smile just one more time. Ah, Beatrice, Beatrice. I offer up this life of mine. I offer it up to you. I'm begging you, Beatrice. Whoa. Things sure move with the times. I can't believe we'll be able to make the trip in just 20 minutes. I couldn't help but scratch my head and marvel at how far things have come in recent years. We used to go by boat. Back then, we were all forced to endure nearly half a day of swaying back and forth over the sea before we reached Nijima. Things have gotten so much more convenient these days. Still, I've never been on a plane this small. I've flown in a huge jumbo jet before, but this'll be my first experience in such a tiny one. It's gonna shake, isn't it? They say smaller boats shake more than big ones, so I guess the same rule probably applies to planes. Just spare me. Don't worry, Battler-kun. It shakes much less than that boat did. Is that you, George Aniki? Don't scare me like that. You just shaved 3 years off my life. Anyway, what's shaking got to do with anything? You don't think I'm actually scared of the plane shaking or maybe falling out of the sky or something, right? Oh, of course not. My mistake. I see you've changed a lot since we last saw you. After all, it's been 6 years since then. You're not a kid anymore. Yeesh, and here you are, old enough to smoke and drink. I've got no interest in smoking, but I've always wanted to try some booze. Well, if you've got your dad's genes, I'll bet you can hold your own when it comes to drinking, right? Well, I usually drink for business rather than pleasure. It's pretty hard to do business in Japan without it. That's exactly right. That's why I never miss a chance to get in some practice. That's no good, Battler-kun. You're still a minor. Don't you know alcohol can stunt the growth of... Never mind. Come on, I'm tall enough already. In fact, it'd be easier to find clothes if I shrunk a little. I puffed my chest out proudly. Until I hit my growth spurt, My height was below average in my class. But then I grew and grew, and before I knew it, I passed 180 centimeters. That's 5 foot 11 inches. I guess I have all that muscle training and those shady mail order performance enhancing drugs to thank for that. Before then, I never dreamed I'd shoot 10 centimeters above George Aniki, who'd reached his peak height early on. Damn, I'll bet my relatives will all say, "Look how big you've grown, Battler-chan," or something. It's all so embarrassing. I wish they'd just give me a break. Anyway, my name, Battler. Well, it's pretty damn weird, don't you think? I've got to wonder what my parents were thinking when they named me that. I've never met anyone who could read it right the first time. I usually get called Sento-kun. Sorry, but that's not even close. My name is written like that. Can you read it? I sure can't. The first part is my family name, Ushiromiya. That's a fairly plausible Japanese pronunciation so far. The problem is my given name. These kanji are made up of the characters for fight and person, and it's pronounced Battler. Put it all together and you've got Ushiromiya Battler. Pretty crazy, right? It's crazy enough that my parents decided to call me that, but it's even more crazy that some government worker let them make it official. Both groups are at the top of my must-kill list. Anyway, this is one of my cousins. His name is Ushiromiya George. He's 5 years older than me, so he must be turning 23 this year. Since the Ushiromiya cousins consist of 2 boys and 2 girls, I ended up playing with George all the time. And because I've always thought of him as a big brother, I still call him Aniki today. Whoa, Battler-kun, look how big you've gotten. You know what they say, leave a boy for 3 days and you'll hardly recognize him. It must be in his blood. Rudolph wasn't that tall either until his high school years. Perhaps people end up taller if their growth spurt comes late. Nah, it's nothing special. A real man needs to be tough on the inside too. Exactly. Battler-kun here knows how it works. Real men win or lose based on what they've got on the inside. Can't ever forget to keep up your training and discipline. You gotta do that. Wait very alertly for the perfect moment, and strike. Now, I never even imagined that I'd become the company president I am today, master of my own domain. Yep, to think I've come this far after starting out penniless and ruined. This stout, plump old guy is George Aniki's dad, Uncle Hideyoshi. He's the husband of Dad's older sister. In other words, we're not blood related. He's nice to children, sociable all the time, and even quick to give out some spending money to us kids. Simply put, he's an awesome uncle. He speaks in an odd and very noticeable Kansai accent, but is actually a natural-born Kanto man. Apparently, impressions are everything in the business world, so speaking in a different style than other people is an act that makes him stick out more. However, I hear he gets embarrassed when talking with an earshot of a real Kansai person, so he switches back to standard Japanese. I don't really get it, but he's definitely an interesting person. If only you weren't so quick to brag about your life story. That's enough for now, I think. I'm sure Battler's getting tired of it. Aren't you? Nope, not at all. Nothing wrong with that. I think it's pretty cool for a man to have some stories he can brag about. I don't have anything like that at all. Yeah, not yet, you don't. Oh, really? I'd imagine a man with your looks would leave girls crying left and right. I can't believe you have nothing at all to brag about. What? You're joking, right? Of course nothing weird like that's ever happened to me. Heck, I wish it would. Come on, you aren't fooling anyone. You must tell your aunt all about it later. After all, nothing of the sort ever happens to George. This is George Eineke's mother, Aunt Ava. She's my dad's older sister. She and Uncle Hideyoshi are repaired jokers, and they've always teased me, back as far as I can remember. This sometimes made them a bit hard to get along with when I was small. Well, I guess the events of the last 30 seconds prove that they can still be hard to get along with. Even so, George Eineke's family is interesting and fun, and they seem to get along just fine. Yeesh, that's pretty much the total opposite of my family. Battler-kun, have you seen, I almost pronounced that real weird, Rudolph-san? Huh? He headed off to the bathroom a while ago. Is he not back yet? Maybe the poor geezer dropped dead. No. That's no way to talk about your own father. Still, this isn't the first time he's taken so long in the bathroom. Yeah, the guy's always been that way. Does he really have to take a magazine with him every time he needs to take a dump? And what on earth's he doing in there with those particular magazines? Oh, you don't need to worry about that at all. Since we've been together, I haven't let him do that on his own. Ooh, I'll have to get the juicy details later. Really? Sounds like Dad's got his balls in an iron grip. You know exactly what would happen with that man if I didn't keep a tight grip, don't you? No kidding. You're the only one capable of reining in that old bastard. As his son, I'm more than happy to let you take over. Yes, leave it all to me. After all, that's my specialty. This woman is my father's wife. Her name is Ushiromiya Kirie. As you can probably tell from our conversation, she's not my real mother. She's basically my stepmother. My real mom died 6 years ago, and Kirie's son is the woman Dad married afterwards. It's understandable for someone my age. I could never bring myself to call this his new wife Mom. And I doubt she feels like using the word son on this massive kid who's no relation to her at all. We aren't little kids. We know there's nothing to be gained by fighting. So we decided that we wouldn't force ourselves to pretend that we were family. I've decided to act a bit more frank with her, acting as though she's a friendly neighbor instead. It's much easier if we just keep a little distance, instead of forcing ourselves to act all close and making each other uncomfortable. Kiryu-san has always been very open about all this, and thanks to that, we've been able to get along pretty well. Then, just when we were bad-mouthing Dad about being in the bathroom, the man himself came back, wiping his hands with a handkerchief. Battler. Hey, what's up, Dad? Ow. Don't pinch my ear, gah. So, you've been talking trash about me with Mom again, haven't you? What makes it so hard to show a little respect for your father, Ow, 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 ow. Damn it, that hurts. You can stretch my ear all you want, but I'm not going to be able to fly. That hurts. Come on now. Up, up, down, down, left, right, left, right. Now say, Father, please forgive me for being so rude. Like hell I will. Go find yourself some members-only store if you want it that much. Ah, let it go. This old bastard is my dad. I think I'm pretty tall myself, but Dad's about as tall as I am. It's no surprise Aunt Ava started talking about Dad's blood when she saw my height. By the way, my height isn't the only thing I got from him. It seems having weird names runs in the family. Dad's full name is written like that. You can't read it, can you? I sure can't. Come on, it's just this. Anyway, this guy's name is pronounced Rudolph. Thank you, Sushi. Haha, he must hate grandfather for giving him that name. Still, that's no reason to pass that weird naming tradition on to me. As the old bastard twisted my ear all over the place, Aunt Ava snuck up behind him and grabbed his ear. Hey, Rudolph. You should know better than to physically abuse your son. Ah, that hurts, Aniki. This scene perfectly illustrated the relationship between the prankster younger brother and the oldest sister who could deal out punishment to him despite his size. I think that's enough for now, Eva-ne-san. I'll make sure to stretch out his other ear later on. Oh, my apologies. I must leave some pulling for you to do, Kirie-san. Oh, Rudolph. Make sure Kirie-san gives you lots and lots of punishment later on, okay? You don't want to talk, Aniki, abusing your little brother like that? Hideyoshi-Nisan, I'd like to thank you very much for picking her up. If you hadn't been so generous, she'd still be unsold in the store. You have my gratitude and apologies. What? Who are you calling unsold? After taking 2-3 steps back, Aunt Ava unleashed one of her beautiful high reverse roundhouse kicks, which stopped just a centimeter away from the tip of Dad's nose. After starting out with Tai Chi Chuan for a figure, Aunt Ava then developed an interest in the Chinese martial arts. After that, she went through karate, taekwondo, capoeira. What is it she's learning now again? Well, anyway, they say a woman's weapons are in her lower body, and that's literally true for Ava. Rudolph, did you know that a single direct blow to the side of the head like that would knock you unconscious? Not so long ago, I accidentally connected in a practice match, and my opponent was out cold. Sheesh, what a pain. I'm so sorry she can't help walking like a freak. Dad, completely unfazed, shrugged and smiled ironically at Uncle Hideyoshi. Never had a brother or sister myself, so when I see you two bickering with each other, it makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Sure is nice to have a big family. Oh, then why not consider making a little brother for George-kun? He's already a fine adult who's about to go off on his own, so it might be a good time to have another child. Hey, have a little sympathy for the new kid, and all the pain and suffering he'd have to live through. I'm surprised even George-kun turned out as well as he did after being born from this sinister sister of mine. And what an awesome kid he is. Please share some of that with our blockhead of a son someday, will you? That's not at all how it happened. It's thanks to Eva Neson's proper rearing that George-kun became the kind, gentle kid he is now. Isn't that right, Neson? Oh, come now. You think so? Our George still has a long way to go. Ah, by the way, how's your little Anja-chan doing? I heard she was vomiting. Oh, that's right. And I was hoping to finally see her face after such a long time. Is she okay? She often catches a cold when the seasons change. She's very frail. I did want to bring her along, but we decided to have my family look after her this time. I think that's a wise move. She'll heal a lot better if she stays away from that venomous head family household. A child's health is always more important than an adult's convenience, don't you think? I know of some great medicine for vomit and colds like that. When we get back home, I'll send some to you right away, so please let her try some. Thank you very much, Hideyoshi-Nisan. I'm always in your debt. And once the conversation suddenly veered off in that direction, we kids didn't have any chance of butting in. For now, I'm just happy Aunt Ava gave Dad his just desserts for tugging on my ear. Are we still waiting for the weather? Are we still waiting for the weather report? George Aniki pointed at the counter. The checking weather sign was still stuck next to the departure times for the flight we were scheduled to board. According to Aniki, smaller planes are more subject to winds and other effects of the weather, and it's not at all uncommon for flights to be delayed because of that. Wait a sec. We are totally sure it's not going to shake, right? From down here on the ground, it just looks cloudy, not windy. Well, I guess it's different up where the planes fly. The weather's a bit uncertain today. Aunt Ava looked at a TV in the lounge. The weather forecast was being broadcasted, informing us that a typhoon was approaching the Kanto region. A typhoon again? Guess there's no helping it, with the annual family conference being held in October. Couldn't he have chosen a better season? I agree. I've always hoped that we could have it sometime around the Obon Festival in mid-August. In that case, why don't you suggest that to Father and Nissan during the conference? Very funny. Why don't you do it yourself? Our brother would never listen to anything I suggested. No way. It doesn't really bother me that much to have it in October. I was just saying that you might want to propose it since you said you hate typhoons so much. I only said that typhoons always come around this time of year. You're the one who said you wanted to move it to the Obon Festival, right? Well, you said it too last year. Didn't you say that it would be easier to fit into your schedule if we had it during the Obon Festival? I never said anything like that. Oh, yes, you did. I certainly wouldn't forget something like that. No, I didn't. You're the one saying that all the time. Didn't you know? Stopping a kick just a hair's breadth away from impact is a very high-level technique. Sheesh, women your age shouldn't spread their legs like that. Dad and Aunt Ava's argument looked no different from a couple of brats quarreling. Even though they usually behave like normal parents, they turn right back into kids again when they meet their siblings at these family conferences. You're the one who looks like a real adult, analyzing it all calmly. I hope I never turn out like that old bastard. I'd much rather end up as an intellectual adult like you, Aniki. Like me? Oh, I still have a long way to go. I still have very little experience out there in the real world, and I need to work on becoming more confident and sociable. I think you've surpassed me on all of those counts, Battler-kun. I'm sure you'll outstrip me fast enough when you become an adult. George Aniki scratched his head and laughed, as though trying to hide his embarrassment. Of course, he was just being humble. Aniki entered a university and became an apprentice at Uncle Hideyoshi's company at the same time, studying both academics and how to become a business emperor in parallel. Then, right after graduating, he got into Uncle Hideyoshi's company as his father's aide, piling up a lot of real-life experiences as he devoted himself zealously to his work. His great dream is to one day stand on his own and build up his own kingdom. Aniki is a real paragon of a man, sparing no effort as he strives towards his goal. It's no exaggeration to say I really respect him. And then there's me. I'm nothing at all like Aniki. I'm living my happy-go-lucky, idle high school life to the max. I've got no dreams for the future. I'd like to just sit back, stay cool, and let the money flow in, but of course that could never happen. When Aniki was my age, he had already formed an impressive objective and had started devoting himself towards studying for that goal, so I guess I can't compare at all. My dad just says, sure, you can study at my company if you like cleaning toilets. Damn it, I'm not going to be in the depth of that old bastard. I'll find my way myself. If only willpower was all it took to become an adult. Should I go on one of those self-searching journeys that are all the rage these days? Well, it's not like I could mooch off my parents for that kind of money. Right then, Uncle Hideyoshi shouted out loudly. He's a really nice person on the whole, but he does have a problem controlling the volume of his voice. When I looked over, I saw that he was greeting Aunt Rosa, who had come late. Oh, if it isn't Rosa-san. Maria-chan, long time no see. Long time no see. Ooh. Maria, shouldn't that be it's good to see you again? Greet your uncle properly. It's good to see you again. There you go. Well said. How about some candy as a reward? Oh, huh? Where'd I put it? Rosa-san, it's good to see you again. It's good to see you too, Maria-chan. It's been too long, Kiryu-ne-san, Hideyoshi-ni-san. And... oh my, Battler-kun? Look how big you've gotten. Ah, come on. It's embarrassing hearing that from every person I meet. Hey, Rosa. You're late. If the plane was on time, you'd barely have made it. I'm sorry. We had some trouble making our train connection. So, are you waiting on the weather again? Oh, don't complain. I much prefer the 30-minute plane trip to spending 6 hours bouncing on a boat. Even if we're kept waiting for here for an hour, it's still much faster overall. Maria-chan's gotten huge too. So, how tall are you now? Ooh. So, how tall am I now? Maria-chan parroted Uncle Hideyoshi's question, looking up at her mother. I guess she doesn't remember her own height. She's probably right in the middle of a growth spurt, so her height must change every month. Give it a few more years and she'll suddenly start looking feminine. Just how tall were you the last time you got measured? You keep getting bigger and bigger, don't you? Right? Ooh. I think she's grown a lot since last year. Let's see, she turned 9 years old this year, didn't she? 9 years old. Ooh. That's right, you're 9 years old now. Glad to see you're doing well too, Maria-chan. Up you go. Ugh. I guess you've gotten a bit too heavy to play airplane with. Chojaniki, what a rude thing to say to a lady. Here, I'll do it. Up you go. Ugh. When I went to lift her up in Aiki's place, Maria stiffened defensively, staring suspiciously at my face. Ah, that's right. The last time I met Maria was 6 years ago, and she was only 3 years old. Of course she doesn't remember my face. Maria-chan, don't you remember? It's Battler-kun. You used to play together, remember? Ugh. No surprise, I guess. The last time she met Battler, she was only 3. You don't keep memories at that age. She must know everyone's face apart from mine, because she meets them every year. But I haven't had contact with the Ushiromiya family for about 6 years now. So it's no surprise that this 9-year-old girl doesn't have any memories of me. Even I can only just barely remember her being a 3-year-old crybaby. Maria, this is Battler Oni-chan, Rudolph Nisan's son. Understand? The brother's son is... The brother is the son? Ugh. That ooh sound was probably her brain going into overload at that complicated explanation. I guess the phrasing of that was a bit confusing. Ni or Oni, the title you'd use to refer to an actual older brother, can also be a friendly honorific for a boy who's only a bit older than you. It's just like ne or one, the word for big sister. Maria-chan, this is Battler-kun. He's your cousin, like me. Like Giorgio Ni-chan? Silence. Long silence. Battler? Cousin? Ew. That's right. You got it. This part of Aniki is what makes me really look up to him. For someone who isn't married, he's just great at dealing with kids. I'm sure he'll be an indulgent father in the future. Battler Oni-chan? Maria looked straight at me with a questioning expression, as though asking whether it was okay to call me that. Yep, that's me, Battler. Nice to meet you, Maria. Ew. Battler. Maria? You mustn't talk to him like that. Call him Battler Oni-chan. That's alright, Aunt Rosa. I don't sweat the small stuff. Hey, Maria. We're close enough that we don't need honorifics, right? Battler, Battler, Battler. Ooh, ooh. That's right. Maria, Maria, Maria. Ooh, ooh. We horsed around for a while to make up for the 6-year gap in our friendship. She probably still thinks of me as nothing more than a big new friend. But things will probably work out as we get to know each other again. But I'm surprised. She's just the way I remembered her being 6 years ago. Seems that people just don't change that much after all. I'm a bit happy that she's still the pure, innocent girl I remember. Her name is written like that. Of course, that's pronounced Maria. The third character looks like a cross, which is pretty cool. Her feelings don't usually show up on her face, so it can be difficult to know what she's thinking, but that's just how she looks on the outside. On the inside, she's just a sweet, normal girl. Then there's Maria's mother, Aunt Rosa. She's my dad's younger sister. Rosa is written like that. Here's a name that's totally not Japanese. Sorry to say it, but her name's almost as ridiculous as Dad's. I've got to respect her for not ending up as screwed up as he is. When I think about it, all the names in my family sound foreign. Just why is grandfather so obsessed with that? Because of him, even we grandchildren have to put up with this weird naming sense. It's even more annoying since grandfather's own name is perfectly normal. Anyway, there's one thing about Aunt Rosa that's a relief compared to the other family members. The old bastard and Aunt Ava have this annoying urge to tease and mock people all the time. But even though she shares their blood, Aunt Rosa isn't like that at all. She has the most common sense among all the siblings. Like Uncle Hideyoshi, she's a kind aunt who will always be on the kid's side. However, possibly because she's more strict as a parent, she's not liberal with handing out spending money like Uncle Hideyoshi. Okay, now we have the entire group of family members who are going to board the plane. At that moment, as though it had waited for all of us to arrive, an announcement rang out through the lobby. Our apologies for the delay. Boarding will now commence for Flight 201 to Niijima. We ask that the passengers please form 2 lines in front of the counter, behind the white line. Rosa, you still haven't gone through boarding procedures, right? Hurry up. Oh no. Maria, come on. Ew. We had to go through a metal detector before going out on the runway. Our small plane wasn't as massive as an international flight, but it was still a plane. A staff member holding a metal detector checked us all. Once all of us cleared the check, we followed the staff member out onto the runway. Come to think of it, everyone here is in the Ushiromiya family. It's like this is a reserved charter flight or something. Our group stopped in front of the entrance to the airplane. Then, our guide turned around and spoke, looking down at the passenger list as he did. Boarding will now commence. As I call out the names on the passenger list, please take your seats in order, starting from the front row on the right side and going right to left, then on to the next row. I will now begin reading the passenger list. Ushiromiya Hiroyoshi-sama. Oh, I'm first. Right here. By the way, do you have some candy, Ava? I've been looking all over for some, but I couldn't find any. Ushiromiya Ava-sama. They're in my handbag. I'll get one once we're inside the plane. I've heard that candies are a good way to protect your ears from hurting because of variations in atmospheric pressure when landing or taking off. That's probably what they're talking about. Hope I get a window seat. Don't worry, there aren't any other kinds of seats. As George Aniki said, there are apparently only 2 lines of seats. So, this is what a small plane's like. We are totally sure it's not gonna shake, right? Ushiromiya George-sama. Right here? Don't worry, Battler-kun. It won't shake too much. Ushiromiya Battler-sama. Aniki, what do you mean not too much? You just swim if you fall from a boat, but if a plane crashes, you're screwed, right? We all get our own parachutes in our seats, don't we? Wait, we don't? Ushiromiya Rudolph-sama. Come on, battlers, stop standing there slack-jawed and get in. Ow, Dad. Don't push me. We don't get parachutes. Ushiromiya Kiria-sama. Okay, you two, stop fooling around. Let's move on in. Ow, Kiria, don't push me. This blockhead isn't moving. Ushiromiya Maria-sama. Ooh. Let's move on in. Ushiromiya Rosa-sama. Maria, be quiet. This is your pilot, Kawabata. We'd like to thank you for taking New Tokyo Aviation's Flight 201 today. We estimate that the flight to Niijima Airport will take about 20 minutes. We are receiving reports of atmospheric turbulence. There may be some shaking of the aircraft, so we ask that you do not unfasten your seatbelts after takeoff. Aniki, did that guy just say we needed to wear seatbelts? In a jumbo jet, they let you undo them after takeoff, right? So it's gonna shake so much we can't take them off? Damn it, you tricked me. This is going to shake after all. Where are the parachutes? I knew I should have taken the boat. Should have taken the boat. The boat. Fall! Fall! Ooh, ooh, ooh. Maria, that's enough. But what a surprise. I thought there was nothing that could scare Battler-kun. This guy can't handle vehicles for some reason. Always yells about falling and sinking and stuff. You're a disgrace of a man, you are. Ah, shut up. That thing was seriously shaking way too much. I just got a little stressed since it was my first time on a small plane like that. You call that a little stressed? Sounds like it'd be fun to take an overseas vacation with you, Battler-kun. Would you like to go to Egypt with your aunt? You'd get to ride a plane for a full 14 hours. There's a good plan. Battler-kun, you should go let Eva-ne-san toughen you up some. Still, it's so hilarious. Now, everyone's got their own strong and weak points. It's bad to laugh at them. Dad, you're laughing too. Hey, Maria-chan, you shouldn't laugh anymore. Shouldn't laugh anymore? Ew. God damn it. Is being scared of planes really such a big deal? Everyone obviously thinks I'm a big oaf now. We split up and took separate taxis from the airport to the harbor. From there on, we would be taking a boat to the island. And I'm gonna save the game real quick, cause let's just say there may be some issues with that mod that I installed. I'm hoping everything will be fine, but you know, can't be too safe. Okay. The islands are right next to each other, so the distance of the trip wasn't that great. By boat, it was a leisurely 30 minutes to the island. When we reached the pier where the boat to the island was anchored, we saw a figure waving at us. George Nissan, it's been so frickin' long. Ah, Jessica-chan, it's been a year since I saw you. You've gotten taller again, haven't you? Yeah, don't give me that. It's embarrassing when you say it every year. Hey, Aniki, you've got to be kidding me. Is that really Jessica? Wait a sec, George. Is this big guy... Battler? We both stared at each other. She definitely didn't look like that in my memories, but I do remember her crazy way of talking. Yo, Jessica. What's this now? You're kidding me, you look like a woman now. What are these, boobs? Even you managed to get a chest. Oh my god. And this is that thing I mentioned earlier. Eehee, let me rub him, let me. Don't screw around with me, I'm a blushing flower of 18. Of course my hair grew longer and I got these. What, you think I got boobs just to get fondled by you, loser? And speaking of you, sure, you got all ridiculously huge. But did you get stronger too? Don't screw with me, I'll show you how much training I've done since back then. You're pissing me off, I'll beat you at your own game. This headstrong girl's name is... that. She was born under the same unlucky star as me, sharing the same kind of weird name. Anyway, that is pronounced Jessica. She's Dad's older brother's daughter. That older brother happens to be the oldest son of the Ushiramiya family, so for now it means Jessica is the direct family heir. Since Jessica and I are the same age, and sometimes had little boy-girl squabbles with each other, we've always been used to fighting and joking around together whenever the relatives gather. Jessica grew more quickly, so she always had me beat in terms of size and physical strength. When we scuffled in a contest of strength, it usually went Jessica's way. So even though I realized I'd grown bigger, Part of my mind was still convinced that I couldn't beat Jessica. Whoa, what the? What are you getting all serious for? Ow. Hey, this is nothing. Jessica, you've gotten weak. Shut up. I'm a girl, so of course I couldn't beat a guy with physical strength forever, right? Hey Nightcrawler, welcome to the stream. Well, you've got a point there. The meat I put on my arms all went to your chest. It looks like it'd be a pretty even test of strength between my arms and your boobs, don't you think? I told you, my boobs aren't for you to feel up. Besides, how about you? Did your cute little elephant son get a bit bigger to go with the rest of you? Stop it, idiot. No, you perv. I'll be ruined for marriage. Don't touch my crotch. Don't say stuff people are gonna misinterpret. Honestly, I was so surprised at how feminine Jessica had become that I had to joke around like an idiot to hide it. Well, considering what a bossy brat she was 6 years ago, anyone would be surprised. And I guess she's just as surprised. She probably wasn't expecting to lose to me in a test of strength. That was a difficult sentence. After losing that easily, she must be shocked at how much I've grown in these past 6 years. 6 years. Once again, I'm being shown just what a huge gap of time that was. Crap, total defeat. It's like I'm no match for you anymore. That's not true. Even Battler must have his weaknesses. Right, Maria-chan? Ugh. Fall. Shh, cut it out, Maria. Let's keep that a secret, okay? Fall? The hell are you talking about? Sorry, but there's no chance you'll see that weakness of mine now. After all, the nightmare plane trip is already over and done with. Only thing left is the nice, quiet splashing of the boat ride. I never thought I'd start loving that piece of junk boat this much. Huh? George Nissan, is there something wrong with his head? You'll understand soon. Very soon. At the time, I didn't get what Aniki meant by that big smile. But later on... What have we here? Oh, Puddler-san, how big you've grown. Who's it this time? It's an old lady with an apron. Oh yeah, that takes me back. I remember now. You remember her, right? It's Kumasawa-san, the servant. I could never forget you, Kumasawa Ba-chan. After all, you haven't aged a bit in these past years. If anything, I'd say you're looking younger than ever. Ho ho ho. Lately my skin has been getting quite smooth and silky. And look, has my chest gotten bigger as well? How'd you like a little feel? You kidding, right? My breast fondling is strictly limited to bouncy girls. Oh, I was quite bouncy in my youth. Don't be shy. Fondle to your heart's content. Give me a break. It's girls I'm looking for, not grannies. The jokes I'd cracked about Jessica were being turned against me. Come to think of it, Kumasawa has always been the type to tease people. Kumasawa-san, stop that now. People with one foot in the coffin shouldn't jump around. Oh my god. Wow, that's rude. To sport with the young is the most rejuvenating medicine. Oh. It's rare for you to come pick us up, Kumasawa-san. I wonder what's gotten into you. Usually, your lumbago kicks in whenever someone gives you a job to do. That's how you pronounce that, right? I don't actually know. Oh, Eva-sama, you're as harsh as ever. I found myself with some urgent purchases to make, and while I was at it, I thought I would come welcome you all. Although it does give a bad impression if the one waiting to greet you is a decrepit old woman. Ooh. Aunt Ava spoke sarcastically, but Kumasawa Banchan's years of experience were nothing to sneeze at. She was more than capable of smoothly and coolly deflecting that comment. Well, it feels bad to say it, but old Kumasawa Bachan may be past her prime as a servant. She might act as though she's in good health, but between the headaches and her lumbago, her body is wearing out. To tell the truth, the very fact that she's still working is impressive. How old is she this year again? She must be pushing 80 at least. It's incredible that she's still able to act so cheerily. You just seem to get more and more lively. Oh, that's right. Here you are. It's the tea I told you about before. Look, I bought you some. Please do try it later on. Aunt Rosa took a souvenir bag out from her suitcase. To think that she remembered a promise that she'd apparently made last year and faithfully bought it. This sort of thoughtfulness was just like Aunt Rosa. She wasn't the kind of person who would forget or break a promise. Kumasawa Bachan seemed deeply touched, not only that Aunt Rosa had remembered this year-old promise, but that she would bring a gift to a simple servant like her. This woman is Kumasawa Chiyo-san. She's a senior servant who's been working at the Ushiromiya head family household for many years. As you'd expect from someone her age, manual labor isn't her strong point, but she's a kind of super servant who can handle just about anything else, from kitchen work to cleaning and laundry. It seems like her only flaw is a tendency to slack off. I hear she tries to get away from heavy or troublesome work by playing up her chronic diseases. In Kumasawa Bachan's case, this is probably a sign of craftiness rather than laziness. Though it probably doesn't impress those paying her salary. Ah well, even if she's pretty flaky when it comes to work, I could never dislike her. I guess that's probably because of her cheerfulness and her constant smile. Hey, glad to see you're still in fine spirits. How's your back doing then? Even with the medicine, it's not getting one whit better. According to the doctor, nothing can be done for this one. It's what you might call an incurable disease. Hey, kid. Thank you for the host? I think my Streamlabs is acting up, but hello, welcome to the stream. Oh, geez, okay. The Streamlabs is acting up, but welcome, everyone, and Kit, and oh, hey, Fleas. We're just playing through this game. Been at it for about an hour, and we're still introducing characters, so you haven't missed much. Just my stumbling on words and stuff. You know what? I appreciate it, regardless. And, yeah. Let me get you all caught up real quick. There's a family. Hold on, actually, I have AIDS. Reading teaching aids, that sort of thing. So here's our main character, Battler. It's a weird name, I know. He has explained in detail that his name is weird. He's also kind of a bit of a creep sometimes, but that's okay. Then he's got a bunch of cousins that are going to be important. Here's Jessica. Here's George. Here's Maria, the youngest. Then Maria's mom, Rosa. Battler's dad, Rudolph. Battler's stepmom, Kitty. George's mom, Ava. George's dad, Hideyoshi. And we were just talking to this lady, who is Kumasawa Basically, the premise is we are all going to an island for a family conference. And that's pretty much all we've gotten into so far. So, there we go. I do need a sip of water because of all the reading. Okay. Anyway, Jessica-chan just keeps getting prettier. Good thing she takes after Natsuhine-san. Really? Personally, I don't think we look alike at all. I mean, I don't even want to be like my parents. Because I got zero respect for them. Now you shouldn't say such things. Though there are quite a few people who don't want to be like their parents in our family. Ah, that's me. You sure as hell better not take after me. Your nose looking like mine already pisses me off. What are you talking about? You're surprisingly alike, you and father. Come on, you can't be serious. Just how am I like dad? You're a lot like him, especially in how arrogant and prideful you are. Father's blood is especially strong in you and Nissan. Wouldn't you say, Rosa? Oh, absolutely. Kraus Nissan and Rudolph Nissan are almost unbelievably like Dad. Alright already. Why am I the only one under fire from the girls? Hideyoshi Nissan, give me a hand, please. My, Rudolph-kun, you're always so popular with the ladies. I'm jealous. As usual, you're popular enough to make me jealous. Well then, everyone, shall we head over to the boat? Come now, Maria-chan, let's get on the boat together, okay? Get on the boat together. Ugh. Everyone gets on together. Ugh. Hell yeah, this time around I'm not gonna be scared. I'm used to being shaken by the waves. With that piece of junk fishing boat, I'm less afraid of the shaking than the engine breaking down and the boat drifting off. Oh, yes, Battler-kun, I forgot to tell you. That fishing boat was completely worn out, so it was taken out of commission a few years back. Now we get taken to the island in a different boat. Oh, right. It's Battler's first time in the new boat. It's super comfy and freaking fast. It can go at crazy high speeds. Oh, that means less travel time, right? That sounds great. Having to worry about sinking is less scary than being on a plane. But it'd still be awesome to get it over with as quick as possible. Ooh, is Battler going to fall again? That's only on airplanes. Everything is fine now. Anyway, it's the captain's pride and joy, a kind of modded high-speed boat. Seems he's got it pretty souped up. He was bragging about how he attached 4 base high-efficiency propellers to make it break 40 knots or something like that. He talks about it all the time, so I've sort of memorized the spiel. Yeah, I've got it memorized too, since we hear about it every year. The captain says he's been obsessed with modding ever since he lost a speed contest with a foreign boat ages ago. According to him, that opponent managed to break 30 knots with just a fishing boat. And his thirst for a revenge match got him to build an awesome, all-new, super high-speed modded boat. I'm sure you'll just love it, Battler. Super high-speed modded boat. My first thought was that this would be much better than some beat-up boat that might sink any moment. But for some reason, I got this feeling of foreboding. Probably just overthinking it. Hey, Battler, maybe you should just swim to the island. Battler-kun, you shouldn't lean over the railing too much. You might fall. Ooh, fall. Damn it, so this is why you're all grinning back there? So this is the super high-speed boat that the captain started modding. Oh yes, that piece of junk fishing boat from 6 years ago doesn't hold a candle to this guy. Oh, it's shaking. I'm gonna fall. Ooh, gonna fall. If I fall, I'll land in the ocean and drown. Where's the parachute? I mean, where's the buoy? Give me a life jacket! Battler, what the heck are you doing that for? Jessica-chan, Maria-chan, it's not nice to tease. But, that was the wrong person. Battler-kun, if you're scared, then just don't come out on the deck. I think you'll be able to calm down a bit if you go inside the boat. That's a no thank you, Aniki. Shipwreck victims are always the ones inside the boat. The survivors are usually those on the deck during the accident. So I'm staying here. But it's shaking. I'm gonna fall. Ugh. Shake, gonna fall. Ooh. Maria, I told you to behave yourself. But Battler-kun, it looks like you really can't handle it. I'll go tell the captain to slow down for you. Ooh, Aunt Rosa, thank you. I can tell you now that safe, slow driving is definitely the way to go, even on the sea. Don't do that, Rosa. Trials and tribulations are important for young men. Isn't that right, Battler-kun? You'd better be able to overcome a little scare like this. Otherwise, you'll never be able to go to Egypt with your aunt. Aunt Ava, you're so mean. Oh no, I'm gonna fall. Life jacket, parachute. Wait, gotta spin it around and think that way. What's the enemy aiming for? Is he doing this to scare me? If that's what he's aiming for, too bad. Like hell, I'll be scared. But no, I'm gonna fall. So, after I made a huge fool of myself for a while, Aunt Rosa had a talk with the boat captain, and he slowed it down to a more manageable speed for me. That's a bit better. I thought I was gonna die earlier. Apparently the max speed I can tolerate is extremely slow. But that just now was completely insane. The whole boat was shaking, sliding and leaping on the ocean's surface. It felt like I was riding on the back of a flying fish. Jessica was still guffawing at me as I leaned against the railing, tired and disheartened. I lost in that strength contest earlier, but I'm glad to know I'm no worse off where it really counts. But seriously. Damn it. Go ahead and laugh. One of these days, I'm gonna find your weakness and get back at you. And then your boobs will be mine to squish. Yeah, sure. Good luck with that. Why does he keep saying that? Ooh, Battler all week. Yeah, Battler all week. I want to die on land, not in the ocean or in the sky. Maria was patting my back, so I patted her head in return. Her expression was blank, as usual, but I realized that she wanted to console me. Battler-kun, the captain's throwing in drinks to make up for this. Would you like one to calm yourself down? George Aniki and Kuma Tsawabat-chan, that was a mouthful, brought us all ice-cold cans of soft drinks covered with beads of water. Judging from Kumasawa-san's big grin, our parents inside the boat were probably all rolling around and laughing at my moment of pure terror. Damn it, I'm so embarrassed I can't bear to face any of them. If I didn't change the subject somehow, I had the feeling I'd be the butt of everyone's jokes for the whole trip. So I tried to think of something harmless to talk about. Hey, Jessica, how are Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsuhi doing? My old man and mom? Unfortunately, they're fine. Though every other word out of their mouths is study, study, which pisses me off. I'm so jealous, since it doesn't look like Uncle Hideyoshi or Uncle Rudolph would say stuff like that. Oh no, before I had my exams, my parents kept pressing me about it over and over. I thought it was annoying then, but now I'm grateful. I knew it. You really are awesome, Aniki. Anyway, I have to look after myself. No one tells me what to do. Well, it's not like I'd listen if they did. Battler son, have you still not returned to your parents' home? Well, I kind of go back now and then. I've got lots of clothes and stuff left at the house I was living in until recently. Battler has 2 houses? Something like that. Why? Why do you have 2 houses? Only Maria, who couldn't really grasp the situation, voiced this naive question. However, the others just shot nervous glances at me, choosing not to respond even though they knew the answer. Maria, look, you can see the harbor now. Look, over there. Can you see it? Saw the harbor. Apparently, Jessica was trying to be nice by changing the subject. Well, I'd rather not talk about it if I can help it, but it's uncomfortable to have it treated like some kind of weird taboo. I don't mind it that much myself anymore. I may be a member of the Ushiromiya family, but the truth is that for these last 6 years, I've been living with my grandparents on my late mother's side, and I've even been using her family name. When those grandparents passed away, one after the other, I basically had no choice but to go back and live with the old bastard. Don't get me wrong, I didn't just run away from home or anything like that. The only one at fault here is my dad. I don't really blame Kiryu-san. Being able to hold that old bastard's reins and ride him out is no mean feat. Still, the way that old bastard betrayed my mom, well, unfortunately, I still haven't fully gotten over that. We'll be getting there soon. George Aniki cleared his throat, trying to change the subject. Please forgive my indiscretion. It seems this old woman has said too much already. If I have hurt your feelings... I don't mind it, and no one's feelings are hurt. Don't worry, Kumasawa-ba-chan. Kumasawa-san seemed to regret speaking out of turn, but I was more concerned about being worried over for something like that, so I stood up and passed it off lightly. After that, I had a sip of my drink and headed over to Maria and Jessica, who were gazing at the silhouette of the island. Ooh. Battler, I saw the island. There. Ooh. Where is it? Oh, I see it now. Even after 6 years, the island hasn't changed a bit. The small island silhouette in front of us has gotten pretty close. This island's name is Rokkenjima. It's a small island about 10 kilometers around, located in the Izu archipelago. Since they call this archipelago the Izu 7, lots of people think that there are only 7 islands, but that's not true. There's actually several more, and Rokkenjima is one of the minor islands that don't get counted. Even if that weren't the case, I doubt you'd find many people who knew about this island. Only people connected to the Ushiromiya family ever go there. In other words, outsiders and tourists never have any reason to care about it. So you'll never find this island's name in a travel brochure. After all of Rokkenjima is an estate possessed by the Ushiromiya head family. Only the Ushiromiya family lives there, and only people connected to the Ushiromiya family come and go to and from there. There's nothing there except a harbor and a mansion. The vast majority of the island is still just uncultivated forest. Sorry. Such a waste when it could be made into a nice golf course or something. Oh my god. However, when you realize that the entire coastline is a private beach, it starts to sound pretty magnificent. Magnificent. I think it's time for a break almost. I am stumbling on words. You've probably guessed by now, but to put it simply, well, the Ushinomiya family is just rolling in dough. The head family apparently possesses a vast fortune, and Dad and the others who make up the branch families have built up plenty of wealth for themselves, finding success in their respective businesses. I've been living a commoner's life at my grandparents' home for these 6 years, so I'd completely forgotten. But the old bastard's house really is elegant, and everything about it is tuned to match the snobbish tastes of the annoyingly rich. Come to think of it, I guess it makes George Aniki, Jessica, Maria, and me wealthy, high-class gentlemen and ladies. Needless to say, none of us think of ourselves that way at all. I don't see myself as being rich, and George Aniki, who takes self-discipline very seriously, doesn't let himself get too comfortable. Jessica is always complaining that she'd rather move to the city than be rich, and Maria's still a kid who isn't even interested in money at all. Does that attitude really make us any less snobbish? From the perspective of people in poverty who can't pay the bills, we really have been blessed with a lot. This isn't the place to explain any further, so I won't. Anyway, it's the same as not being able to choose the parents you're born from. I didn't ask to be born into a rich family, and I don't think it's really something to be envied. It can be pretty trying when people are prejudiced against you just because you're rich and refuse to judge you by your merits. As I pondered these sentimental thoughts, Maria started shouting and leaned over the railing. Ew, gone. What's wrong, Maria? Did you drop something? Ew, gone. Ew. Maria kept yelling gone. At first, it sounded as though she had dropped something, but while she shouted, she also pointed out over the ocean. What's wrong? What's gone? I'll look for it too if you want. What is it? If she dropped something, she probably would have looked down at the floor, but Maria was pointing out over the ocean. One would assume by that gesture that she had spotted something, but she kept saying that something wasn't there. Strange. However, since my last memories of this place came from 6 years ago, I was able to spot it before Aniki, who comes here every year. Huh? If I remember correctly, wasn't there a torii or something on top of a small crag around here? That's right, it was definitely there. I remember it well, since as we get closer to the island, it's the first thing to greet us, like a landmark. Wow, you're amazing, Battler, even though it's been 6 years you remembered. It was here, wasn't it? I remember it too. The tutelary god shrine and that torii-like thing were standing all alone on that crag. And now that you mention it, they are gone, aren't they? I'm pretty sure they were still here last year. Gone. Ooh. Maybe they're washed away by the waves or something. It was a small crag, it probably got worn away over time. Well, that's my theory too. It was last summer that it disappeared. But they say an enormous lightning bolt came crashing down one evening and smashed the shrine. The fishermen whisper that having a thunderbolt fall upon our honored tutelary god must be a portent of approaching misfortune. Kuwabara. Kumasawa-san smiled impishly as if teasing us, rubbing her hands together while intoning a Japanese phrase meant to ward off lightning. However, Maria apparently took this seriously and stared fixedly over the ocean to where the crag housing the shrine god was supposed to be. portent of misfortune. Ugh. Enough, Kumasawa-san. Maria isn't old enough to get that kind of joke. It's okay, Maria-chan. It's just a coincidence. Nothing scary's gonna happen. George Aniki put a hand on Maria's shoulder to calm her down, but Maria's sharp-eyed expression didn't waver. Misfortune. Misfortune. Maria muttered that word over and over. Apparently, repeating a single word over and over is a habit that Maria's had for a long time. However, since the word she was saying was literally an ill omen, it was a bit creepy. Hey now, Maria. If you say it over and over like that, misfortune will really end up happening, you know? I tapped Maria's other shoulder. Maria whipped her head around, stared into my face, and spoke unblinkingly. Ooh, misfortune is coming. Huh? And just where is it coming from? I answered lightheartedly, trying to break the tension in the air. At that moment, Maria held up a finger, raised her arm high, and pointed up to the heavens. When I looked up, I saw that the sky was still just as cloudy, but it had grown a great deal more leaden than it had been that morning. That's right, they were saying that a typhoon was approaching. We had planned to spend one night on the island, but if this storm doesn't pass quickly, I won't be able to make it back to school on Monday. Well, I guess it makes for a pretty good excuse to be absent. Ugh. She apparently sensed some kind of misfortune in this cloudy sky. She's been muttering that non-stop for a while now. Girls at Maria's age tend to be very impressionable. She's just about the age that many girls start to get excited about sixth senses and whether they have any psychic potential and stuff. For all we know, this might be due to her childish, sensitive nature. It's okay, Maria-chan. The weather might get worse tonight, but tomorrow it'll clear up and become a pretty blue sky. Ooh, pretty blue sky. Ooh. That's right. By tomorrow it'll be a pretty blue sky. There's no rain that doesn't end and no clouds that never clear. Ooh. Rain that doesn't end, clouds that never clear. Ooh. I know the typhoon's coming, but soon it'll go away. It'll be okay, Maria. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Maria started yelling, ooh, ooh. It looked as though she was having a tantrum because no one could understand what she was trying to say. What in the world is Maria trying so desperately to warn us about? Unable to understand her, we couldn't help but feel a vague sense of misfortune. I've heard that everyone can feel the supernatural, but that it weakens as you age. That might mean that Maria, the youngest of us all, still possessed some kind of sense that the rest of us had lost. I wonder if that sense is sending her a warning. At that moment, Kumasawa-san quietly opened her mouth. Rumor has it that long ago, Rokkenjima was... Kumasawa-san, let's not talk about that now. Just as Kumasawa-san was about to tell some kind of story, Jessica sharply interrupted her. Jessica's tone was extremely firm for her. I wanted to push her further just out of simple curiosity, but judging by the look on Jessica's face, whatever Kumasawa-bachan was likely to say would probably make Maria even more uneasy. If I did try to press her for the story, the odds were pretty good that it wouldn't be anything bright and cheery. Oh, I do apologize about that. The wind here is hard to bear for the elderly, so if you would excuse me for now. Gossipers have no reason to hang around after they've been told to stop chatting. When Kumasawa-san finally realized that she'd overstepped her bounds, she went back inside the boat. After she left, Uncle Hideyoshi showed up in her place. Since he'd arrived mid-conversation, he completely failed to notice the complicated atmosphere that hung about the scene. So he refreshingly and unwittingly swept that atmosphere aside. So in the end, it was his lack of tact that brightened the mood. Looks like we're almost there. Okay, just a bit more. Took forever at the speed we went today, didn't it? Wonder whose fault that was. Haha. Aw, Uncle Hideyoshi, give me a break already. Come on, don't stop there. Seriously, thanks to Battler here, it's taking forever. Ugh. Maria probably thought that everyone was refusing to listen to her. She hung her head, wearing a fretful expression. As she did, George Aniki crouched down to meet her eyes and spoke to her kindly. Maria-chan, there's nothing to be afraid of, because we're all together. There's nothing to be afraid of if we're together. Go ahead and say it. There's nothing to be afraid of if we're together. Yes, there's nothing to be afraid of if we're with each other. That's right, exactly what George Aniki said. If we stick together, there will never be anything at all to be afraid of. Right, Jessica? Yeah, no doubt about that. What George Nissan says is always true, Maria. George Oni-chan, always true. Yes, I don't lie. So trust me. There's nothing to be afraid of if we're all together. George Oni-chan doesn't lie. I trust you. There's nothing to be afraid of if we're all together. Not afraid. Maria jumped into George Aniki's arms and hugged him tightly. After Aniki patted her head, she jumped away again. Her facial expression had undergone a 180-degree change, turning back to normal. She was once again the ordinary Maria. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore because we're together. Yeah, that's it. You look all better now. You're strong and that's awesome. I'm awesome. Hey now, what's going on here? Maria-chan didn't get seasick, did she? Well, something like that. We'll be arriving soon. The harbor was already drawing near. Alright, I feel like that's a good point to save. And take a quick break for a bit. And I will mute this sound because it will drive you crazy. And yeah, I'll be back in a bit. Just gotta bump up some music, hold on. There we go. Back in a bit. Alright. Let me just figure out how to get everything back up and running. There we go. The boat gave a big shudder. Seems we've docked at the harbor. The boat driver came out and jumped to the pier with the mooring rope. A large man in a tuxedo was waiting there for us with a warm smile. I didn't recognize his face, but judging by his clothes, I guessed he was a servant of the Ushinomiya head household. Welcome home, milady. Okay, now that the annoying repetitive boat noise in the background's gone, a little recap. We're members of a family. Here's our protagonist, Battler. Weird name, I know. He also knows. And this is his entire family. You can see the little family tree here. And we are all gathering to go to a family meeting, essentially, on an island. Because they are filthy rich. And that's kind of where we're at so far. It's mostly just been, you know, meeting the characters, getting to know everybody. Laughing at Battler for being scared of boats and planes. And yeah, on we go. Welcome home, milady. You were so late in returning that I began to worry. Thanks for caring. This moron got so scared we had to slow down. It was seriously annoying. Shut up. Someday, when the shoe's on the other foot, you'll remember this. Ugh. At this rate, word will spread to the whole family and I'll be the big conversation piece during dinner. Even without this, everyone would be talking about me because of that 6-year gap. But now I've given him an even juicier topic. Damn it, why does the Ushinomiya head family have to live on this isolated island? In the meantime, the boat had finished its mooring. A small plank was lowered so that we could get down. One by one, our parents came up from inside the boat. You must all be quite tired from your long trip. Madam, please allow me to assist you. Thank you. It's been a while, Goda-san. How are you? I thank you for your concern. It is always my pleasure to serve. Battler-kun, isn't this your first time meeting Goda-san? If I'm not mistaken, you weren't working here 6 years ago, right? Indeed. So please, allow me to greet him for the first time. It is an honor to meet you, Battler-sama. I'm pretty confident about my height, but you're huge. This is definitely our first meeting. I'd never forget meeting a big guy like you. It's a pleasure. I'm Battler. I was looking forward to meeting you. I am Goda, your servant, and I have been working for the Ushinomiya head family since the year before last. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. If there is anything you need, please feel free to rely on me at any time. Goda-san, it's been quite some time. It has been too long, George-sama. Please allow me to assist you. As usual, you're a pro at welcoming guests. If you ever need a job, just let me know, okay? I'd hire you anytime. You do me too much honor. Please allow me to assist you, Hideyoshi-sama. Goda-san then lent a hand to everyone as they disembarked, greeting them as they passed. His speech and mannerisms had the refined polish of a professional. He was very graceful, in contrast with his initially tough-looking appearance. His large size made him seem a bit scary at first, but he was much more polite than my first impression had led me to believe. He claimed to have served on the island for 2 years, but he had doubtless worked at a similar job somewhere before. After everybody disembarked, the mooring rope was untied, and the boat started to steer away from the harbor. It was probably returning to its home port on Nijima. The captain waved his hand in farewell. Maria conscientiously waved her hand back. Now that I think about it, that must be why I felt something out of place for a while now. I can't hear the cries of the seagulls. Seagulls? The birds? If I remember correctly, whenever we came to this island in the past, the seagulls always greeted us with their lively nya-nya cries. Because of that, whenever I hear the cries of seagulls anywhere else, I get the feeling that I'm coming to a family conference. Except for the small part of the island where those of the Ushiromiya head family live, Rokkenjima has been left uncultivated, which apparently makes it a paradise for wild birds. Supposedly, there was a cliff somewhere that housed a huge seagull colony, so this island was always full of seagulls. Not having those seagulls here to greet us made me feel a bit lonely. What's wrong, Battler-kun? Oh, Aunt Rosa. Nah, it's nothing really. I was just thinking it's a bit lonely without the cries of the seagulls. My, that's true now that you mention it. Even though they're always so noisy, today there isn't one to be seen. Why no seagulls? Maybe it's because the seagulls are having a get-together somewhere too. Maria, did you want to see the seagulls? Wants to see them. Still, it's a bit strange there isn't even a single one around. Maybe Jessica grilled them all and ate them. The hell? Don't say disturbing stuff like that. You'll get Maria believing it. Jessica One-chan grilled them. Jessica One-chan grilled them. I did not. Why the hell would I do something like that? That's right. Jessica grilled them. Skin and meatballs, liver and onion. Swim and meatballs, liver and onion. As I made fun of Jessica, Maria tagged along, looking like she was having fun. Oh, I never guessed you was such a good sport. Alrighty then, from today on I'll make you my #1 follower. As I smiled at her, she beamed, looking overjoyed. Possibly because she was happy about this little connection we'd made with each other. That's not it, Maria-chan. I've heard wild birds are attuned to changes in the weather and atmospheric pressure. The weather will probably get worse tonight. The seagulls might have returned to their nests early. Not grilled? Jessica One-chan didn't grill him? No. I wouldn't do something like that. Battler, admit right now that you lied. Battler-kun, Maria-chan is a naive girl, so she takes even jokes seriously. You should choose your jokes more carefully. George Aniki gently scolded me. Even though I outstripped Aniki in height, Aniki was Aniki, of course. There was no choice but to obediently apologize. Sure. My bad. Maria, that was a joke. The seagulls are all taking it easy in their nests today, that's all. Battler lied? Giorgio Nichan told me the truth? Had she actually been tricked despite all that fun she was having? Her pure eyes made me feel guilty. Maybe I went a little overboard with her after all. Yeah, that's right. What George Aniki said is true. The weather's bad, so they probably went home for the day. It doesn't mean they're gone. Right, Aunt Rosa? That's right. Tomorrow, when the weather gets better, I'm sure they'll come back so we can hear them cry meow meow like they always do. Ooh, I'll wait until the weather gets better and they come back. Gonna wait until tomorrow. Gonna wait until the weather's better. Ooh, ooh. Maria was in a lighter mood and was looking forward to tomorrow, when the seagulls would come back and fill the skies. Still, George Aniki really was amazing at taking care of kids. I think I remember Aniki taking good care of me as well when I was a brat 6 years ago. Aniki, that's probably your gift. George-kun is amazing at taking care of young kids. If you wanted to, I bet you do great with a job in childcare, don't you think? Yeah, it's almost like George Nissan was born to do something like that. Personally, I think that'd suit you better than doing business in some company president's office. Oh no, childcare is a fine career path, but it's not a job where merely liking children is enough. You really are modest, George-kun, but Battler-kun is quite good with children too. Just a second ago, even though it didn't last long, Maria seemed to be having a lot of fun. Please keep on playing with her like you did just now. Just choose your jokes more carefully, okay? Aunt Rosa winked at me, giggling a little. She's a real mother, I thought to myself, who's happy to see Maria having fun. Come on, Rosa. And you brats too, what the hell are you doing? Let's get going. Okay, we're coming. The old bastard was waving for us to hurry up. Yeah, we needed to get moving. We might as well have this conversation after setting our luggage down in our rooms. Now then, everyone, allow me to lead you to the guest house where you will be spending the night. Please, this way. Kora-san called to everyone and led the way. Kumasawa-san brought up the rear. A serpentine, twisting path led through a dim forest. It ran a bit uphill. I'd guess the path was made all twisty so the slope wouldn't seem so steep. But personally, I'd have been happier if they'd had the guts to make some stairs in a straight line. No doubt they made the path twist on purpose to put on airs of distance and importance. Before long, we saw garden-style stone steps. Ah, from here on I do have some memories. Go up these and... At the top of the stone steps we saw a beautiful guest house. Its facade was lovely, of course, but more importantly, we couldn't enter its doors without having our hearts stolen away by the splendor of the beautiful rose garden spreading before it. Ah, it's as beautiful as ever this year. A real delight for the eyes. After climbing the stone steps, the people greeted by this rose garden gave voice to their impressions one by one. Is it just me, or are the flowers a little less lively this year? It's probably because it wasn't that hot this summer. I also believe that was a factor. Sadly, this year's blooming is a tad inferior when compared to last year's. Even so, it was a delightful rose garden. I remembered that, even 6 years ago, huge numbers of roses had greeted us every year. This rose garden was the first thing that greeted the people who came to Rokkenjima. Even our parents, who came every year, couldn't help but give voice to their admiration. In fact, it seemed to have undergone a power-up from the garden in my memory of 6 years ago. This place is always so amazing. It would be wonderful to have a rose garden like this at home. Give it up. Who do you think would take care of it? Roses are a real pain with bugs and diseases to worry about. Thank you, Chris. I hear that a lot. And it's always weird. I appreciate it. Well, from what I've heard, Kiryu-ne-san takes care of her rose every day and makes sure no bugs get anywhere near it, right? Huh? What are you talking about? That's right. Though, in this person's case, the rose goes after the insects like some nasty carnivorous plant. Oh, so that's what you mean. Come on, Rosa. Can you give that a rest just for today? I've put that sort of thing completely behind me. I wonder. After all, you're a womanizer on almost a genetic level. No need to worry, Rosa-san. When a rose gives you too much trouble, it's always best to snip it at the root. Such frightening talk this is. Guys who are popular with the ladies are always forced to live dangerously. I sure hope I turn out a bit prettier in my next life. Hideyoshi-ni-san, like I keep saying, it isn't like that at all. And Kiryu, stop it. You're freaking me out. You've made my rose wilt. Hey, Maria-chan, look over there. These roses are especially magnificent. Magnificent roses. Ooh. Smells pretty sweet. Look, this suits my elegance perfectly. Hey, cut it out. Marie's gonna imitate you and get hurt by the thorns. She yelled at me as I leaned in to smell the rose's scent with an exaggerated gesture. I thought she was overreacting, but when I turned around, I saw Maria imitating my every gesture and George Aniki smiling broadly at us. Hey now, Maria-chan, be careful. Rose thorns can hurt. Ooh. George Oni-chan, only this rose is strange. Ooh. Strange? What's wrong? Maria pointed at a single rose. I immediately understood why she found it odd. In the midst of all these magnificent roses, one single rose was just starting to wilt. There wasn't any particular reason. Some roses flourish and others wilt. That's all there was to it. But Maria seemed very concerned about the only unhealthy one in their group. It must have made her feel lonely. So, you feel sad for this rose because it's the only one that isn't healthy? Ooh, the others are all healthy, but this one's sad. Well, they all bloom and wither at their own paces. I bet this one's just starting to wilt early because it got to bloom before any of the others. Yeah, that's right. It probably just bloomed like crazy, fulfilled its duty, and went to sleep. You shouldn't get so worked up about it. It seemed that Maria's pure, sensitive nature was making her feel some emotional pain for the rose that wilted alone. Even though she understood the logic of it, it still felt lonely to her. Then, Maria-chan, why don't you look after this rose until after we leave? Ooh? George Aniki straightened up and felt around in his pocket. He then took out the wrapper from the candy he had been sucking on the plane. He twisted it into a thin string, then gently tied it to the rose as a sort of marker. Hey, that's pretty cute. Let's mark it with this. Later on, you can come and give it some water. I'm sure Mr. Rose will be happy. Ooh, come to give it water. I think you should give Mr. Rose here a name. I'm sure that'll make it happy, and you'll get to know it a little better. A name? A name. Ooh. Though she still wore her usual sullen face, Maria crossed her arms and began to consider this intently. At the very least, she appeared to have been completely pulled out of her slump. Nice going, Aniki. George Nissan has always been really understanding. Can't help but respect him. Yeah, I guess he was just born that way. We've got to start picking up tips. Was this garden as magnificent, just as magnificent when you were all kids? It was only after I stopped living here that it grew so big. Before that, the garden was simpler, though I'm still attached to that one. Nissan fiddled with it too much, with that vaguely bad taste of his. I liked it much better before. Ava, you've got to think positive. Setting aside how it used to look, its beauty now is something to be admired. You'll be able to relax a lot better if you look at it that way. I didn't mean it like that. I was just saying I wanted you to see the garden the way it was before, too. Everyone, if you please, I shall guide you to your rooms now. Goda-san called to everyone to ask if you were ready. But our hearts had been completely stolen away by the rose garden that none of us had seen for a year, so we didn't pay much attention to him. Since we weren't a travel group, it wasn't like we had a strict schedule to follow. Besides, since our parents were visiting their old home, full of nostalgia, it wasn't like they had to let themselves be urged on by anyone or anything. Understanding the situation, Goda-san continued to wait, smiling widely, until our parents got tired of the roses and told him to guide us to our rooms. Oh, hey! If it isn't Kanon-kun, it's been so long, how are you doing? Uncle Hideyoshi suddenly shouted. In the direction he was waving was a slender boy. Meeting him right after a huge man like Goda probably emphasized his small stature. The boy was in the middle of transporting piled-up gardening tools and the like in a wheelbarrow. When he realized he was being called to stop, he set down the wheelbarrow, took his hat off, and bowed his head. Good afternoon. I figured he was probably younger than me, and I realized by the general atmosphere surrounding him that he was another servant. He greeted us in response to Uncle Hideyoshi's call, but he seemed like he might be pretty unsociable most of the time. It was a greeting that lacked feeling. When Goda-san noticed that our interest had shifted towards him, he went to the boy's side and introduced him to us. Bachelor-sama, allow me to introduce you. This is one of the servants of the Ushiromiya head household. Kanon-san, greet our guest. I'm pleased to meet you. I am the servant, Kanon. Yep, my first impression wasn't wrong. He seemed to be unsociable, or at least not so good at talking. Compared to Goda-san, who was extraordinarily polished as a servant, you couldn't help but feel an inexperience typical of his age. When Goda-san urged him in a whisper to give a bit more of an introduction, the boy named Kanon only cast his eyes downwards. Kanon-san, could you perhaps give them a little more of a greeting? No, because we are furniture. He didn't seem to be refusing to greet us out of spite. Rather, he seemed to have fallen silent because he didn't know what else to say to us in greeting. Well, Kanon-kun's shy and doesn't tend to talk much. He might not be that sociable, but deep down he's a really good person. Don't get him wrong. You've been working here for 3 years, haven't you? Pretty sure you started a year before Goda-san, right? Even though he wasn't exactly giving a terrible first impression, Jessica hurriedly backed him up. I see. Apparently his unsociable nature causes him trouble a lot. Okay then, nice to meet you. I'm Battler. I'm 18. How old are you? He fell silent, as though wondering whether or not it was a question he'd have to answer. But here again, Jessica plowed ahead. If I remember correctly, Kanon's 2 years younger than us, so 16, right? Yes, that is correct. It looked like he would have preferred not to tell us his age if given the choice. That was probably because he thought we'd look down on him for it. I remember that when I was around his age, I hated being asked how old I was by adults. I see, 16, huh? That's gotta be a delicate time. Which means I probably asked something I shouldn't have. I'm glad you're about our age. Just be cool and call me Battler. And I'll call you Kano. Thank you very much. But the sentiment alone is sufficient, Battler-sama. Jessica looked panicky for some reason. She seemed to think my impression of Kanon was getting worse because of his refusal. Well, as a girl, Jessica probably couldn't understand the fretful male heart at this age. As his elder, even by just 2 years, I took it upon myself to be understanding of that. Kanon-san, could you perhaps be a little more courteous? A smiling face is also part of a servant's duty. My apologies. I shall make an effort. Gora-san, Kanon-kun is trying his best, yes? It looked like he was often warned about being unsociable. And apparently he hadn't improved one bit. Gora-san kept his business smile, but let a small sigh of resignation escape. Well then, I still have work to do, if you'll excuse me. It looked like Kanon himself was uncomfortable with remaining silent here any longer. After another perfunctory bow, he turned around and started pushing the wheelbarrow again. Just then, the wheelbarrow suddenly wobbled and fell, scattering the load. I guess the wheelbarrow's single wheel got caught on a pebble and lost its balance. What do you think you're doing? Now, clean it up quickly. Gora-san urged him to hurry in a quiet voice, as though hinting that it was shameful for a servant to appear clumsy in front of guests. Kanon-kun wordlessly reloaded the wheelbarrow with the fallen objects, as if to say that he understood quite well without being told. He seemed to be fine with the light-looking gardening tools, shovels and such, but he looked like he was having trouble getting his arms around and lifting up some sacks of fertilizer. Are you okay? You're so careless. Here. Milady, you will dirty your garments. Please leave this to us. With a smooth motion, Gora-san took the shovel that Jessica had picked up. Behind him, Kanon-kun was having trouble with the sacks of fertilizer. Ooh, you'll dirty your garments? Don't worry, the ones I'm wearing aren't that expensive. Besides, I hate guys who just sit there and make the waitress pick up the fork they dropped at a restaurant. I lifted up the other bags that had fallen. Of course, they weren't light, but for me it was a piece of cake. Kanon-kun looked at me, surprised. It was the face of someone who never would have expected to receive help from a guest. Battler-sama, don't worry about it. I will take care of everything, so. Don't you worry. I may not look it, but I've got it where it counts. Hehe. Since Kanon-kun looked like he hadn't yet gone through his growth spurt, he was stuck with a sort of weak body. Rude. This kind of weight might have been too much for him. It's quite heavy. It's natural that it would be difficult for you. Don't worry about it, Kanon-kun. Okay, my time to shine. This makes up for the boat stuff from before, right? Ha! As if this could make up for freaking out like that. Later, I'll tell you about it too, Kanon-kun. Battler was totally hilarious. Gonna fall, fall. Ooh, ooh, ooh. As they did this, I piled all the stuff back into the wheelbarrow. I beg your forgiveness for letting you witness such unsightliness. Come now, that's quite enough. Please go. Letting the guests, who were supposed to feel welcome, see such a disgraceful thing must have been hideously embarrassing for a servant. Pressed by Goda to hurry up and go, Kanon-kun left. You're too harsh on him, Goda-san. Shouldn't you have helped him instead of being a bully? That was wrong of me. I deeply implore your forgiveness. Without even a twitch in his smile, Goda-san apologized elegantly. Kanon-kun has a ton of things he's good at too. It's just that being young works against him all the time. It's a crying shame. Well, it's a prickly age. Let's just leave him be. After all, closed-mouthed servants are the best kind. Isn't that right, Kumasawa-san? Rudolph-sama, you truly are harsh. There is no servant as silent as me, of course. Everyone smiled wryly at that obvious lie. Even she herself didn't believe that, not in her wildest dreams. So she must have said it to lighten the mood. Yeah, that's the kind of character Kumasawa-bachan used to be. The once stiff atmosphere had cleared up at once, thanks to her cheerful smile. I'd like to set down our luggage soon. Goda-san, what rooms are we all going to take? It shall be the same as the previous year. Allow me to guide you. Please, this way. We headed towards a trim, elegantly simple guest house. This was going to be our temporary quarters for the night. Kanon watched over a hedge as the guests all entered the guest house. Then, he let his eyes fall on those heavy sacks of fertilizer piled up in the wheelbarrow. In his mind, he kept going over his previous mistake. Battler, big and strong, had picked up the sacks in front of him. The sacks Kanon couldn't lift himself, as if they were feathers. It would be extremely difficult for an outside observer to guess what emotions that favor had stirred up in Kanon. But as far as you could tell by watching him hang his head, there was something that he just couldn't let go of. Muttered words escaped his lips. But those words he murmured were so soft that they didn't reach even his own ears. Even I. Kanon hung his head, slightly biting his lower lip. I remember the rose garden, but I don't remember this guest house at all. Was it built recently? Torayan, Visitor's Retreat, was written on a gatepost-like thing, but since everybody called it the guest house, I followed their lead. The brand new Western-style guest house, which stood overlooking the roses, had a magnificent design, carefully done in harmony with the garden. Correct. It was built the year before last. Ever since then, they've had us sleep over here. This place is more fun than that junky old mansion you knew. I wish my room was over here. Ooh, I want a room here too. I want one. I guess you could say my own house was upper class, but to me, it felt completely ordinary compared to the head family. The display of wealth was shocking, as was the fact that they'd build this kind of awesome guest house for guests who came over only a few times a year. Eva-sama, Hideyoshi-sama, please do make use of this room. Rudolph-sama, Kiria-sama, please take this room here. I really do love how beautiful and elegant this place is. Western-style architecture truly is wonderful. I can handle Western design for a few days, but any longer than that, and you need the good old Japanese look. Japanese people just relax best on tatami mats. They've been fighting over whether to make our new house Japanese style or Western style. Mom still holds a grudge about Dad having the construction started with a Japanese layout, and they bicker all the time about it. I'm really jealous, George-san. Your parents get along well, don't they? Mine are so frosty. Then again, they're always in sync when it comes to my grades. All the rooms seem to be for 2 people. I was grateful since I wasn't going to be forced to share the same room with the old bastard under the pretext that we were family. And anyway, I figured those 2 wouldn't be able to enjoy themselves with someone like me around. What's with that creepy smile? You're thinking about something dirty, aren't you? Something dirty? Of course not. Please enjoy your stay. Ow! That hurts, you old bastard. Once again, Dad pulled my ears from behind. Cut the crap. I'm getting a stomachache and I'm not in the mood for this. You were the guest of honor this time around, so play as nice as possible with Dad and Aniki and the rest. At the very least, be careful about what you say in front of Dad. Got it? Because wisecracks don't go too well with him. Jessica-chan, what's the head's mood been like lately? Same as last year, I guess. Considering they say he's got 3 months left to live, he's as lively, grumpy, and irritable as ever. Meaning, this year he's in his usual bad mood. And as usual, the only one who's able to look after him is Genji-san. It seems the master will open his heart to no one else. Lately, us small people have not even been granted an audience with him. He shut himself up in his study again, probably doing nothing but that weird black magic of his. What he does for a hobby is his own damn business, but when he starts stinking up the house, it really gets on my nerves. I wish he'd never come out of that study again. You shouldn't talk like that about the elderly. We're all indebted to him, since he rebuilt the Ushinomiya family. We should be more grateful. Well, sorry. After being rebuked by George Aniki, Jessica had no choice but to take back her thoughtless remark. The Ushinomiya family was wealthy beyond belief, but of course, that meant all its members were a bit strange, and completely out of touch with the world at large. And at the top of the chain, the family head, our grandfather, seemed especially strange and terrifying, even for our family. Dad said he was getting a stomachache earlier, and I imagine that reflected the honest feelings of all the adults here today. No doubt they were jealous of his grandchildren, who could just play around and laugh without a care. From the stories Dad told me, the family head was a violent man who ruled with his fists, beating his children, even his daughters, mercilessly with a wooden sword. If he was so strict and uptight about that, why couldn't he have been a little more conservative with his kids' names? Because of that, even his grandkids have had to suffer. Anyway, I can't say I have any trouble believing those terrifying stories about him. I don't remember meeting him very often, but I think I recall him looking extremely grumpy all the time, always making people cower with that sharp gaze of his. I remember that the room's atmosphere got so tense whenever he was around you couldn't even breathe. What my dad said about me being the guest of honor now carries a little more oomph for me. 6 years ago, I was in elementary school, but I'm a high schooler now. If I act up, things could get serious. Ooh, scary. He does look frightening, but he's not so terrifying that you need to tense up like that. Nothing of what he says is truly unreasonable. He may be clumsy at talking, but he's a very logical person. But, George Nissan, you've been the family darling since like forever because of your awesome grades, right? Grandfather treats us completely different. I've even gotten slapped with a wooden sword. On my ass. My ass! On my maidenly, innocent ass. Well, you're the heiress of the head family, Jessica-chan. Your grandfather is giving you special attention. You've got to realize that his strictness reflects his high hopes for you. Oh, come on. Seriously, I could just turn the succession over to you, George Nissan. It's a bit of a heavy burden for me to carry. I think I already said it before, but Jessica's the girl heir to the head family. Something went really wrong with that message I just tried to send, but have a safe drive home, and thank you for dropping by. I appreciate it. Girl heir to the head family. We're only cousins and branch families, so she probably feels a totally different sort of pressure than we do. Ooh? Jessica One-chan, is that heavy? If I help hold it, will it get lighter? Hmm? Thanks. It's okay. I'm not gonna push it on you, Maria. I'm gonna bear this cross until my grave. Don't worry. She was grateful for Maria's innocent concern, but Jessica's face still seemed to contain some of the uneasiness she felt towards the future. Maybe we were in the same boat. Any high schooler with exams approaching would have trouble hiding their anxiety for the future. Maria, come here. You and I will be in this room. Battler-kun, I heard that you're going to be with me in this room here. Oh? Now there's a surprise. It's bigger than our parents' rooms. Dang. Well, I figured we cousins would all want to hang out together, so I told them to get a bigger room ready. Ooh, I like it here more too. I'd rather be here than with Mama. Ooh. Oh, you like it better here too, Maria? Okay, this room is George's and mine, but we'll give you special permission to come in. Better keep it a secret from your mom, okay? Ooh, it's a secret. Rosa was right behind us, but Maria still answered, striking the air with her fists clenched tight. After setting down their luggage in their rooms, our parents had gathered again in the corridor. Hey, what are you brats planning to do? Are you cousins just gonna stay here and chat? It seemed like they were heading to the mansion to announce their arrival. Normally, they would make us follow them and greet everyone together. But if that had been the case, Dad would have just told us to come and that'd be the end of it. He's saying it's okay if we don't come, so what'll we do? Well, it's gonna be lunchtime before long anyway. Better let the kids unwind here. Besides, if worst comes to worst, this might be their last chance to play outdoors. Ooh, I'll go too. Maria, you house it for Mama, okay? Behave yourself and wait here. Ooh. Since Maria was being told to house it here, we certainly couldn't leave her on her own. George Aniki noticed this immediately and gave a clear reply for all of us cousins. Well then, we'll accept your offer and house it. We've got lots of stories to tell each other after being away for a year. And that sounds wonderful. And Battler-kun has 6 years worth of stories to tell, doesn't he? Yeah. I'll take care of the house like a good boy. Kumasawa-san, I'm gonna stay here too. We'll break rank and leave the rest of the details. Perhaps that would be best. I'll report it to Madam. Then allow me to guide you all to the mansion. This way, please. The other children are one thing, but George is getting to be an adult. Wouldn't it be better if he came with us? If we make him come, then poor George will be the only one out of place. Interacting with his cousins is also important. Okay, see y'all later. The adults left, one after the other. They left in the same formation as our trip from the harbor, with Goda-san leading and Kumasawa-san taking up the rear. As we gathered in the room assigned to his cousins, George Aniki asked us to excuse him for a second. He rushed over to Kumasawa-san, who was following behind the disappearing adults, and seemed to ask her something. He soon finished his business and came back. What's up, Aniki? Nothing. I just wanted to ask her something. Ooh, tell me too. Tell me too. What could George Nisan be asking Kumasawa-san and not me, I wonder? I don't have a clue. No, it's a misunderstanding. Not that I know what you're misunderstanding. Aniki was getting pretty tongue-tied. It was almost as though he felt guilty about something, and Jessica knew exactly what he was worried about. At any rate, it's no fun if Jessica gets to know about it and not me. Hey Maria, it looks like we're the only two out of the loop, right? Don't you want to know what they're talking about? Ooh, we want to know too. We want to know too. Ooh. I fooled around while oohing together with Maria. Hey Vivexor, we're way too early into this game for me to say anything about that. But the butler is buff. Just so you know. No, I'm telling you, it's no big deal. Liar. I'm surprised you tell such a terrible lie, Aniki. Confess. Maria, you tickle his right side and I'll tickle his left. Ooh. I've got his right side, Balor's got his left. Ooh. Wait a second. Wait, you two. Stop. What was that noise? Maria and I played around, chasing George Aniki as he tried to escape, rolling on the bed. I realized high schoolers aren't supposed to bounce around like kittens, but I still miss this kind of fun. A warm, cozy kind of fun. George Nisan, what were you asking Kumasawa-san? Well, I've got a good guess. It's been a year since the last time you visited the head family. Who knows what servants might have come and gone during that time. Either way, it looks like you'd like to go and say hi. Ooh. Say hi, I want to say hi too. What the hell, that's nothing to feel guilty about, Aniki. I'm not buying it. Maria, don't be fooled. Aniki's still hiding something. More torture! Maria! Stop it, seriously. Maria-chan, you too, stop already. Giggling. There's a lot of laughter in this game, and it's really weird to like have to do all that. Because I can't fake laugh, but yeah. There you go. She's probably busy cleaning or getting lunch ready. Don't worry, she'll drop by to say hi sooner or later. I'll bet you'd rather have been welcomed in by Shannon instead of that nosy Goda. Shannon? Shannon. Ah, yeah, I remember a girl with that name. She's still a servant. How's she doing? Okay. Let me just save real quick so I don't forget. I think this is a good stopping point, you see. Yeah. Let me just, give a little end screen up. There we go. And I will turn this off so that you're not listening to the same music repeating over and over. Yeah, I think that's a good stopping point because that's like a whole different scene shift and tonal shift in the game, and I feel like that'll be nice to start with next time. And yeah, there's so many characters that have not been introduced yet. I say so many, it's like 3, but considering that we've been going for like 2.5 hours, it's a lot. But I hope you all enjoy it so far. I'm gonna make sure, for anyone who came in later, I'm gonna make sure to highlight these videos every time I do one of these, so that they don't disappear from my channel, in case you want to like scrub through and catch up, you know. The plan is to do this weekly, same time, every Wednesday. I call it Umineko Wednesday because I'm an idiot. But right now, I'm a happy idiot because you're all watching and hopefully enjoying this with me, and I'm very grateful that I get to like share this game with people, honestly, because I love it so much. So yeah, that's it for me for now. Just gonna bop on some music for the end card. And I really hope to see you guys next time. That would be great. Thank you all for being here, for watching, for lurking, for being in chat, whichever it is. I appreciate you a lot, and I hope you all have a lovely day, evening, whatever it is. I'm gonna be back tomorrow with just a regular art stream. I say regular art stream, I'm gonna be drawing slugs, sea slugs. They're gonna be cute. So, that might be interesting too. Who knows? Yeah, thank you all for watching, and see you next time. Bye.